Introducing Duocons, Decepticon 2-in-1s. They think they're twice as tough as any Autobot, and maybe they are.
The Transformers.
But they haven't met the Throttlebots yet.
More than meets the eye. The Transformers.
Now collect over 50 Transformers Decoys, free in specially marked packages.
Alright, hey guys, and welcome back. As this week I'm taking a look at a very small part of the Transformers universe with the Transformers Decoys. The Transformers Decoys are quite literally a very small and often forgotten about part of the Transformers universe and toy line. The Decoys, as they were called, were released by Hasbro in 1987 as a quick way to boost impulse sales in Transformers toys, as they were very cheap, usually under $5. They were small rubber figures no larger than 1 to 2 inches tall, and they were packaged with other G1 series figures like the Duocons and the Throttlebots. They came in 2 colors, purple and red, mainly to differentiate between Autobots and Decepticons, and were actually marketed more as erasers than an actual toy. The added value of the Decoys helped these smaller Transformer lines to sell quite well, and were sold until spring of 1988, with 50 different figures being produced in all, until finally being discontinued.
Alright, so now let's take a look at my collection here of the Transformers Decoys that I have. One of the Duocons and also one of the Throttlebots. And the reason why I'm combining all of these together is because it's such a confusing history with the Transformers Decoys. You talk to a lot of collectors about these, and most people can't remember how they got into their collections, where they originated from. And so with these 2 types of other G1 Transformers, along with the Decoys, I wanted to explain a little bit more about where their history originated from. Now, since they are a G1, like I explained earlier, they were actually advertised as pack-ins with later G1 1987 release Transformers, much like the Duocons and the Throttlebots. There were some other G1 Transformers that they were released with, some larger ones, but not very many, and they came packaged in as a little add-on, and I believe the main purpose of these, because since they were packaged with such smaller, I really hate to say it, but almost kind of GoBot Transformers. I mean, these were, this was actually, I had this one here, this is Roll Bar. I had this little Throttlebot when I was growing up, and I don't remember which of the Decoys I had. But regardless, these were very, very cheap. Even the Duocons, I don't think they were over $10, maybe like $9, $10 for, this is Battle Trap over here on the left. And the Throttlebots, they were like $5 or $6. So these were designed as kind of like checkout lane, like last minute gift ideas, that you're just grabbing for like somebody's graduation, or, you're getting a gift for a party or something like that. So they were really priced cheaply just to quickly move off the shelves, and I think just to add in like added value, that's why you had these little decoys that were added in. And a lot of people also considered them as erasers. And oddly enough, I don't really remember anyone using these as erasers when I was growing up, but one of the main areas that I remember seeing these decoys when I was growing up was in my middle school. We had a school store, and I believe since, like a lot of people at my school, also were collecting Transformers and stuff like that at the time, like our school store, like, it had like pencils and erasers and stuff, and I think like you used to be able to like actually, it sounds weird, you could like give them like pencils and stuff, and you could trade it, like, everything was like a nickel, it's really cheap. And, sometimes, like, we'd spend our lunch money and, get, like, little goofy erasers and stuff and fun things like that. And it was really cool. I really miss that and don't know if that's a thing that even exists anymore today. But to my recollection, I remember that there was a little tub up front, like, by the little checkout counter that maybe had, like, 5 or 10, no more than, like, 15 in it. And so my assumption, even though I don't remember at the time, was that other people would trade in their decoys, and then you could either buy them for like 5 or 10 cents a piece, or you could trade them in, for like other stuff that you had. And I totally remember like playing with these in class, like in middle school and everything, and they were just freaking awesome. So I'm sure somebody used them as an eraser, which is just a shame because they're so awesome. Don't use these as erasers. They're so cool. You have like those vintage goofy erasers, which I have a bunch of retro ones from the 80s, you know, Ghostbusters, Garfield, McDonald's, whatever, you name it, and they're supposed to be used as erasers. These you technically could, and I believe it even mentioned on the packaging that they were, but you probably don't want to ruin them. I mean, they're really neat and they're really cool. So first off, let's actually take a look at some of the associated toys that were packaged with the decoys. So first here we have, this is Battle Trap. And I believe Battle Trap, he is a Decepticon. Now he's honestly very, very cheaply made for a combiner, if you even really want to call him a combiner. And he's honestly just kind of like a Throttlebot that happens to combine, even though he doesn't have the spring forward motion. It's the same basic build and design. Like if you look at Roll Bar and you look at the truck part of Battle Trap here, they're essentially the same. You take off his, laser cannons here, and aside from a few height differences, there's not really too much variation in the mold. But it's still pretty nice. I mean, aside from the wheels, I think these are the cheapest wheels I've ever seen on any Transformer in my life. Like these are like Fisher Price quality wheels. Like they're not even that quality. They are abysmal. That is some of the worst quality I've ever seen in any officially licensed Transformers product ever. Also the fact that there's a lack of coloring on the windows and everything like that. I do like this Transformer. I do think it's neat, but I also think that it's very cheap. It's very, very cheaply made. It does have the little sticker here where you can reveal like whether they're like an Autobot or a Decepticon, which I don't believe it actually still works. And the funny thing with that is a lot of people misremember these. This was actually just a seal of quality. They weren't really for seeing whether or not they were an Autobot or a Decepticon. It would just reveal the Transformers logo, and that way you knew you didn't get like a knockoff. That was like, they're kind of like a Nintendo seal of quality, let's say. So, even though I kind of gave him a bad rap, old Battle Trap here, he's kind of okay. I mean, if it wasn't for his, front-mounted laser cannons, he really wouldn't be anything. But let's see, we'll transform him in a second. I forgot, I don't believe he has does he have his own face or head? I don't remember. So you pull back on this, and sometimes the spring wants to give you trouble here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and he does not have his own face. So his helicopter part is where the face is, and the helicopter is done a lot nicer. The blade spins around really nice. Pretty simple, but I mean, still, doesn't look bad. I mean, it's, again, equally as cheap, but a little bit better in quality, I guess. And then you go to transform him. We can see his face and head folds down, and all you do is you just fold out the arms here, and then you just attach him to the back, and the front chest piece comes over the side, and then with his laser cannon, let me see if I can remember where this part goes. Well, there was a peg for it. Now I can't find where it is. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. What's the matter with me? I completely forgot. It just stays right on the front. It's been so long since I've transformed him like this completely that I completely forgot that his little laser cannon just stays right on the front, and his arms, they don't really move. And there we go. So there's Battle Trap. And I think it would have been really cool if they had made him a Throttlebot as well, because then he could have like moved forward, you could have integrated him with the other Throttlebots and stuff and things like that. So not bad, but I really think they probably could have done a lot better with this. And I'll do a review in more detail later on about the Throttlebots, but this is Roll Bar, like I said. I had this one when I was growing up, not this one in particular, but I did have this figure. And there's nothing too special about them. They just have a friction motor that you pull back, and they zoom off, and that's kind of neat. And I do like the stickers, like the kind of like the desert theme with the mountains in the background. It's got the little spare tire on the back, the dark green and gray coloring, nice rubber wheels. So this is much more the quality that you come to expect from Hasbro, Takara, things like that. So even for a cheap $6 toy, there's definitely some quality here, and I'm sure most of that went into the motor. But I mean, it actually has screws. Like, look at that. There's so much more quality that just is like completely. Well, this has screws, but still, it's just there's so much more quality that went into the throttle bots that went into the Duocons, and even though they have that alternate mode, I don't think it's enough to really warrant the cheap, low quality of production that actually went into them. So we'll go ahead and transform roll bar here. And we just pull them up like that. And we pull the top hood back. Now, a lot of people always think these are like, McDonald's toys or something like that. And I can see where you get that idea. And I mean, they are rather cheap looking, but they're not really totally terrible once you get them. I mean, it's hard to make a good case for them, but they're not awful once you get them together. And the fun thing about this is if you had like another one, you could like do the little motor back, and then you could have little battles, have them crash into each other and stuff. And so that gives them another element of a play feature. And he has this nice little face here with the yellow face and the gray helmet and everything. So not a huge amount of detail. He's missing his sticker, of course. The arms you can't move. But for what would have been like probably $4.97 if I had to guess the price, in the mid 80s, that's not bad. So now let's take a look at the decoys, and we'll start out here with some of the Autobots. Even though the color of them doesn't indicate whether they're good or bad, but in most cases it does. So here we have, these are our 4 Autobots here, and this is one of the rarest of the decoys out there, and this is Optimus Prime, and he looks really, really good. He kind of has more of kind of like that Japanese style because of the super pointy antenna on the top of his head, so he doesn't really quite look like the Optimus that we know 100%. And with the helmet, he's wearing more of a helmet instead of it just like being his head. But he has his his big plasma gun there and everything. You can see the Autobot logo with the smokestacks on his arms. You got the wheels, a little bit of paint damage from somewhere somebody got on him along the way. And they're all numbered. He's 31 out of 50 because there was 50 of them, and some of these did have variants where they were purple and also red. And he's one of the more rare and hard to find decoys. And I used to have 2 of these, and now I've only got 1. And he's really cool, definitely one of my favorites. And we'll take a look at these 2 guys together here. And this is Sideswipe, but you can actually, I like to call them, I say one is Red Alert and one's Sideswipe, because they both have the exact same robot mode when you transform them. So we'll get a good up-close look at him there. And you can see he has a shoulder-mounted rocket launcher, and he's got his plasma rifle. You can see the wheels, the front part of the car folded over, the rear wheels, the windshield on the back, and he is number 18 out of 50. And super cool. And he's like, oh my god, it's me. There's a double of myself. Alright, and then we have one of the Dinobots here, which is really cool. These are also pretty unusual to find. I don't really see very many of them. And here we have Sludge. Very cool. And you can see he has his, when you transform in his robot mode from his dinosaur mode, he has that part of his dinosaur exoskeleton that goes up over the shoulders, the kind of dinosaur-looking face. He's very big and bulky because all the Dinobots were really super huge and large. He's got his little blaster there. And it's got the Autobots logo on his chest. And around the back, some good detailing. Even just little minor detailing for, like, the circuitry and stuff. That really makes these things nice. They're very nice and very collectible. And very cool. Alright, so now let's take a look at the Decepticons. Alrighty. And we'll start out first here. Let's see, we'll start out first here. This is one of the Insecticons, and of course, as everybody should know, this is Bombshell. Now most of them are, if I can get this to focus, most of them are purple. You rarely see any of the Decepticon decoys in red, but like I said, they did do a lot of them in 2 different colors, and you can see he has really not too much detail, which is surprising because they don't have that front part of him when he's in a beetle, like that antenna. So it just has his arms. He's got his little mind control blaster there, and you can see the Decepticon logo. The face looks really good, and the other details look good as well. So pretty cool. Like I said, pretty unusual to see any of the Decepticons in the red variants. And now these are some of my favorites, just because I think I like the purple color a little bit better. And I'll see if anybody can guess who this is. This is Skywarp. I originally thought this was Starscream because they all look so very similar. But no, this is Skywarp, and if you don't know who Skywarp is, he's one of the Seekers and has the ability to be able to teleport. And he's in like this enraged battle stance with his arms up in the air. And you can see his like missile seekers on the side, the front chassis of the F-15 fighter plane, which looks really good, his boots and feet, the face and the wings, all the detail looks really, really excellent, and I hope to be able to add Starscream to my collection some point in the future, since he's one of my favorite characters. But I think they did a really good job with this here, and looks really excellent. Alright, and then another one of my very favorite just Transformers characters in general, and we have Soundwave. And this is really awesome. I believe he's another really difficult one to find just because he's so sought after. And he has his sonic rifle here that he's holding, his microphone mounted, shoulder cannon up top. You can see all the play and rewind, reverse buttons on the cassette player, the big chunky feet that he's known for, his face, the trademark Decepticon logo, and on the back, the battery pack and everything. Designs and details look really, really excellent. And again, I think a really great job overall, especially with one of my favorite Transformers characters. And then last but not least, we have Scrapper. And this is one of the Constructicons, if you don't already know. And they did a pretty okay job with him, I think, overall. He's got his little blaster on the side here. It's funny, with the wheels, he looks more like a race car than he does a construction vehicle, because the way they stick out, he almost looks like an Indy 500 racer. And not too much going on in the face there, but you turn him around and you can see the large part of like the backhoe, like the digger, the construction vehicle that he's supposed to be. And for what detail we have there, he does look good. But I think it would be kind of hard to tell that he's one of the Constructicons in the way that he's transformed. Because, I don't know, there's something about the detail that's just a little off, but overall he still looks cool and is a pretty neat part of the series. So I'll put all these guys back here. And yeah, that's going to do it. That is going to be my review on the Transformers decoys, as well as the Duocons, and I'll do a longer review on the Throttlebots a little bit later on, just so I can do the whole series. But just wanted to show one of the ones that when you bought, either a Duocon or a Throttlebot, these are the two main series of Transformers that you would have seen these decoys packaged with. So now when you're out somewhere and you see them, and you can't quite remember where you saw these, maybe growing up, or where did you ever get them from, now maybe you know a little bit more about their part in the G1 universe and the history of the Transformers. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this video of the Transformers decoys with me today, and I'll see you guys back here next time. Until then, take care.
Hey guys, if you liked the video that you just watched, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, and you can follow me at Facebook at King of Retro or Twitter at #8ByteBrian. See you next time.